Hello there and welcome back to my channel. My name is Leslie and in today's video I will share with you some tips for first-time solo travelers. Solo travel means to travel somewhere alone or to travel somewhere and spend a significant amount of time alone. In my opinion, solo travels are great. It's a great way to spend time by yourself, therapeutic. You don't have to wait for no one. You can do whatever you want. Many people are scared to travel by themselves. Listen to my couple of tips and you won't be scared anymore. As we say in French, les voyages forment la jeunesse, which translates to travel shapes the youth. Let's get started. Tip number 1, research where you're going. It's very obvious. You should decide where you want to go and go from there. You should know the weather, the language, the currency, the cost of living, culture, the political situation. You should also research some common local practices. For example, in some places, women have to wear a hijab or a headscarf. Depending on where you're from, many countries will charge you a welcome tax when you get there. Tip number 2, pick the right accommodations. There are so many choices of accommodations nowadays. As a first-time traveler, you should go with something that makes you feel safe. Hotels are an okay option. They are often a bit more expensive. You're kind of detached from the local culture. An alternative solution to hotels are hostels or youth hostels. This is a great option for first-time travelers. Hostels are like hotels, but they are usually inexpensive. You get to meet all types of travelers. Sometimes they have a worker working at the desk 24/7. They have security cameras. The staff is usually well aware of the activities going on. Hostels may be a bit uncomfortable, but that is what you pay for. Airbnbs are getting more and more popular in the recent years. Airbnb allows owners to rent their property to other people. Also allows people to connect with some local guides and to find some local activities. Then there is couchsurfing. Couchsurfing is very similar to Airbnbs, but it's even more inexpensive. Allows people to rent maybe like an improvised location in their apartments, maybe just a couch or something like that. Many people will choose this option because it allows them to connect with some local people. Before you rent an Airbnb or you rent a couchsurfing, you should read the reviews that people left about that owner. This is for your safety. However, Airbnb and couchsurfing do have measures in place to ensure the people's safety. Usually as a solo traveler, I don't do no couchsurfing, I don't do no Airbnbs. That's just my personal preference. I'm not saying it's not safe. I do not feel as safe, which is why I usually go for a hostel. Tip number 3, pick the right accommodations. There are so many choices depending on where you go. Uber, taxis, train, plane. In some countries, taxis are very common. Uber is an alternative to taxi. In some cities or in some countries, there are some tensions between Uber drivers and the taxi industry. It may not be a good thing for you to take an Uber instead of a taxi. In some cities, you can get a 1-week pass or you can get like 3-day pass for the public transit. In some countries or in some cities, it is unsafe to take the train or the bus at night. Tip number 4, keep in touch with your friends and family. Once you arrive to your destination, you at least contact them to tell them that you arrived safely. You should send a copy of your full itinerary. You should also chat with them every couple of days, especially if you're traveling for a very long time. You should be enjoying the moment, but there's nothing wrong with feeling homesick and there's nothing wrong with contacting your friends and family. Tip number 5, bring enough money. This is definitely one of my worst fears. I encourage you to exchange your money in advance. Some countries and some cities do not have a lot of ATMs. You should also notice your bank that you will be traveling. That way they don't freeze your accounts. This has never happened to me. Never. It was a scary time. Don't walk around with $1,000 in your pocket. Even when you leave for the day, just bring the amount of money that you will need. I usually use my credit card for expensive transactions. Otherwise, I usually use cash. I usually put my money in a little satchel that I keep very close to me. Tip number 6, experience and make new friends. This is a new country, new memories. You get to meet so many people. You only live once. You should be open to changing your itinerary to add some activities that you had not planned. Be friendly to people you meet. Be friendly and polite to the locals that are helping you. Also take pictures. Take a ton of pictures. Be annoying. Don't be scared to ask strangers or fellow tourists to take your pictures. Often when we're traveling by yourself, we forget that we're not taking any pictures of ourselves. Of course, make sure that you have enough film for your camera, and make sure that you have enough battery, and make sure that you have enough space on your phone. Final tip on this list, tip number 7. Do not forget security practices. This is the most important thing on this list by far. A trip is not fun if you're not safe. A trip is not fun if you get armed. The same security practices that you use back home, you use them over there. Don't go to places with strangers. Don't go to dark places with strangers. Don't walk alone at night. Like, that's just common sense. Usually as a tourist, we spend our time where tourists go. Don't go to places where you have no business going. If your mind tells you that this is unsafe, you should listen to your mind. Don't do no stupid tricks to try to get attention from social media.
No one likes that, and you look stupid.
Ideally, you should not be walking around with your passport in your pocket. You usually at least take a picture with your phone, and you also bring a photocopy with you when you're traveling. You should keep your passport in a locked safe or at least a locked locker. Do not get over intoxicated. I see this all the time. There's no one to watch your back. There's no one to bring you home. Back home, you're not going to drink on the other side of town by yourself. So don't do that over there. Someone could harm you, rob you, or even worse, take advantage of you. Also, don't display your wealth. You already look like a tourist. Everyone will try to camouflage. We look like tourists. Don't wear some flashy clothes or flashy jewelry, high-end clothes. As a final tip, I would simply tell you, have fun, but be safe. If you were still hesitating, the world is a beautiful place. There are so many things to experience and live. I wish you a safe travel for those of you who will travel. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.